Welcome to Ole Walls' house. It's me. It's your man. It's your main man. It's Ole Walls, and I'm back with you for episode 146. Got a fun show coming your way. We're going to be talking MLB playoffs, NFL Week 7, another week in college football, and of course my passing thoughts. Before we get started, if you guys could, please rate, review, comment, share, and subscribe. Let someone know about Ole Walls' house. It's the place to be. I just want to say thank you to everybody. I appreciate all of your support, so thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into the show. Of Monday night games to go here. So let's start with my Green Bay Packers. They pull off the victory this week, ladies and gents. Take down the previously 5-1 Houston Texans. An interesting game. A sloppy game from the Packers. They're the defense held up. Let's put it that way. The Packers gave the defense a tough task at times. I believe in the first half at least, if not, into the third. The Texans started two drives from the 11-yard line. We had a I'm sorry, I've got a little technical difficulties. Bear with me. We're all good. We're still rolling. We're good. Okay. Yeah, so the Texans started two drives from the 11-yard line. Two. They felt like they started every other drive from about midfield. And the Packers defense held up. I'm sorry about the shakiness. The laptop is obviously on my lap here as I'm, immobile here. But, they're only down 19-4 at halftime. And they come out in the second half, and the defense does not allow a touchdown. They only allow the one field goal, and Jordan Love leads the team down the field, gets him in field goal range, and Brandon McManus, in his first game as a Green Bay Packer, kicks a game-winning field goal as time expires. And the Packers get a win. And, hey, wins are wins in the NFL. And, there was some issues with the run defense. Joe Mixon was getting himself a lot of yards. But 55 passing yards was what the Green Bay Packers allowed. Stroud threw for 86, obviously some of the sacks count against the passing yards in the NFL. It was a little troubling that Joe Mixon, 25 carries, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. But, the defense was in bend, don't break mode. First game all year where they didn't create a turnover, and they still only allowed 22 points. And like I said, with where those guys started their offensive drives at, where the Texans started their offensive drives, that's a win. Josh Jacobs, 76 yards, ends up catching his first ever receiving touchdown. Romeo Doubs, a couple games off of his suspension, was the number one target. 8 receptions, 94 yards. Jordan Love. We are going to get some ups and downs with Jordan Love, I believe. Jordan Love is a whole lot more Brett Favre than he is Aaron Rodgers. There's going to be some throws. I mean, a couple weeks back when he threw the one out of the end zone, kind of like it felt like that was all fucking Favre there. He threw, 2 interceptions again. I think he leads the league. Let me see. I'll double check this, but I believe he leads the league in interceptions thrown. Let me double check some things here. Pulling up the stats now. Interceptions. It's going to pop up. Yep, I knew. I didn't even think that it's going to pop up. Xavier McKinney. Oh, gosh. Sorry. Yep, it popped that up. All right, interceptions for quarterbacks. 8. Yes, 8 for Jordan Love. Matched only by Patrick Mahomes and Gardner Minshew. And there's my boy Aaron Rodgers, who we'll get to as well. So, Jordan Love, Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, all right up there in interceptions. The difference in the other guys up there in a lot of interceptions, Jordan Love only been sacked 7 times. The problem is Love has played, only 5 of the 7 games. Rodgers, with his 7 interceptions, has played 7 games. Pat Mahomes has only played 6 and has 8 interceptions. So, it's not what we're looking for. We want to hold on to the ball a little better. for a guy who last year didn't, throw that many interceptions. I don't think. Let me double check that. I say that, and I'm gonna look like an idiot if I'm wrong. But I believe last year he didn't really throw that many interceptions. NFL career statistics. Yeah, only threw 11 last year. He's already at 8, and that was in a full 17 games. So a third of the way there, he's on pace for, 20-some interceptions. That's not going to be ideal. Not going to be ideal. His completion percentage is down a smidge this year, too, so far. A lot of season left, and I know he was coming back off injury, but would like to see them, clean up some of the mistakes, just the Packers in general. Like I said, here we go. Mixon was averaging 7.4 yards a carry in the first half. Ay caramba. There was an offsides by Enigbari on 3rd and 6 with 6 minutes left that the Texans ended up then picking up the first down when it became 3rd and 1. That felt like it was a ball game, like clinching penalty. A lot of penalties for Green Bay yesterday. I don't know what it was. I'm pulling that up here now. 8 penalties for 55 yards. It felt like a lot more. They had a fumble, 2 interceptions. 3 turnovers and you win the game is good that you can pull that off. But, you don't want to get in the habit of that. And I think there was some question marks. I don't know if I ever said this about the Texans, but on the pod, I know I said it when I was discussing some wagers I was going to be making this past weekend. But the Texans' schedule up until this point, they hadn't beat a ton of great teams. So there were some question marks about how good of a team they were. When you start facing the better teams and you're turning the ball over that much, those turnovers are going to really haunt you. And that's not something we can, just keep holding our hat on, that you're just going to overcome it. But the Green Bay Packer defense needs to be, mentioned. Creating a lot of turnovers this year. I think they've already created 17 takeaways. Last year they created a total of 18, so have almost eclipsed that. This was the first game that they didn't create a turnover. But they held C.J. Stroud, who I, along with many other people, have been very high on, to 86 passing yards. 86. That's something. I'd like to see him shore up that run defense a little bit, but hey, wins are wins. The defense is doing some good things. The offense looks explosive. I talked about Love's interceptions. He threw for 3 touchdowns in that game as well. So, there's plenty of good with the bad too. This team needs to get more consistent. I think they need to get more disciplined, but there's some good signs. There's some good signs. Around the league, the Denver Broncos lay it on the Saints. We get a late touchdown to cover the over there. The New England Patriots get drum-fucked over in England by the Jags. In what may have been the game of the day, the Detroit Lions take down the undefeated at the time Minnesota Vikings. Jared Goff is playing some phenomenal football. You want to go through some stat lines here. He's putting out some great stats. Completing 73% of his passes. Already thrown for 1,600 yards. 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Really, really good ball out of Jared Goff. He maybe, if not is, playing the best football of any quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback, but I think right now he's probably playing the best football. It's been very impressive what he's done, and that was an impressive win. Goes down the field late in that game to get a field goal with 15 seconds left to win that game for him. Very, very impressive. The Vikings, I keep saying I don't know if the Vikings are for real. I know it's even in a loss. I think this may have proved that they're pretty for real. The Packers, due to the fact that the Bears were off this week, have jumped back up into just third in the NFL, the NFC North, not the NFL North, the NFC North rankings. So all 4 teams in the NFC North still pretty damn good. Bills crushed the Titans. Colts and Dolphins play just a stinker. Seahawks take it to the Falcons. The Bengals, Joe Burrow finally goes and gets another win in Cleveland. Not his favorite place to play. The Bengals squeak out just a 7-point win over the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals. And they didn't score a touchdown until the third quarter. The offense, there was a kick return to start the game for Cincinnati, and after that, they did not score until the halfway through the third quarter. There was a late Cleveland touchdown to give a little worry to the Bengals. The Bengals only 223 total yards. I don't know what's going on in Cincinnati. They're 3-4, so they're in it. They're alive, but yeeky. The Philadelphia Eagles get back on track for a team that's 4-2. You would think these guys are 2-4, but they're 4-2. And Saquon Barkley ran all over his former team, the New York Giants. Saquon has his best ever performance in MetLife Stadium. 17 carries, 176 yards, just one touchdown because we couldn't give it to Saquon down on the goal line to cover 2 touchdowns. That would have been nice for a little wager that was made. No, we got to fucking tush push it 4 times. Fucking Nick Sirianni's a dick. But yeah, just total depancing of the New York Giants. Daniel Jones throws for under 100 yards. They don't have anybody rush for over 25 yards. Is that for real? 23, 20, and 18, the running backs, and Daniel Jones was not a running back. Daniel Jones for 20. Oh, oofta. Not what you're looking for. Not what you're looking for. Rams beat the Raiders in another who cares game. Jaden Daniels goes down for the Commanders, but Marcus Mariota steps in and goes 18 of 23 for 205, and the Washington Commanders roll the Panthers. Roll them. Not good. Not good in Carolina. That team feels like it's a long way away. The Chiefs keep winning. It's sloppy at times. It's, not ideal the way they're doing it, but they have not lost the game. Mahomes throws a couple interceptions. But hey, they win. What else do in a league that there's no style points, it's just wins and losses. Pat Mahomes, 16 of 27 for 154 in just a kind of game. But again, they win. Like, that's what matters, and they keep doing it. So a good win against a good team, I guess you could say, in the 49ers. But is that for maybe? The 49ers 3-4 now. A team that's not good, the New York Football Jets. After leading early, they get blanked in the second half. They go up 15-6 late in the second quarter. George Pickens gets a ball from Russell the Muscle Wilson. Big Russ was out. Danger Russ looked pretty average in the first half, but found a little groove in the second half. Ends up throwing for 264 and 2 TDs. And the Pittsburgh Steelers score 31 unanswered points to come back and beat the New York Jets, who now fall to 2-5. The Jets are in trouble. There's nothing else for them to do. There are no other moves. They brought in Devontae. They fired their coach. They changed their play caller. They're 2-5. You have to imagine they have to go 7-3 at worst to finish out the year to have a chance to make the playoffs. That'd be 9-8. Probably got to look more like 8-2. They are now below the Miami Dolphins in the AFC standings at 2-5. I mean, if the playoffs were to happen today, the teams in would be the Texans in the South. The Steelers would win the AFC North. The Chiefs and the Bills. So your wild card teams would be the Ravens, the Chargers or the Broncos, depending on what the Chargers do tonight, and the Colts. And those are all 4-3 teams. Chargers could be 4-2. Ravens are 4-2. Colts are 4-3. So, I mean, At minimum, the Jets are 2.5 games behind. They got a road ahead of them. That said, the Jets have a schedule coming up where they can put some wins on the board. They have the Patriots. They do have to play the Texans, but that's Thursday night at home. You would think maybe that's helpful for them. They go to the Cardinals. That's a winnable game. They play the Colts at home. Winnable game. They play the Seahawks at home. Winnable game. They play the Dolphins on December 8th. All signs are that Tua is coming back. We'll see what that does to the Dolphins, but they've been pretty bad. They go to play the Jags, who are quite bad, we know. The Rams are all beat up. That's a couple days before Christmas. Who knows what they'll look like then. The Bills and the Jets. So, I mean, there are some tough games down the stretch with the Bills and possibly the Dolphins and the Texans in there. So, like, there's, they play the Dolphins twice, the Bills once, the Texans. If they lose to the Texans, the Bills, and split with the Dolphins, they got to run the table everywhere else. And this hasn't been a team that's done that. I mean, the defense was supposed to be the thing that really drove this team, and they gave up 31 unanswered points. Not what you're looking for. Not what you're looking for. All right, what do we got next week? The Packers are in Jacksonville, and, the following week, in week 9, the Packers play the Lions at home. That just screams trap game to me. I don't love that matchup. The Jags have won a game. They're coming back from London. You never know what you get on the travel, but they were over there for 2 weeks, so it's not like they just went over and went back. Who knows, but screams trap game to me. Just screams it. Ravens, Browns, I forgot to mention Deshaun Watson out with a torn Achilles. Was getting cheered after the injury by his own home fans. Ouchies. Eagles, Bengals at noon next week. That's an interesting matchup. Bengals obviously need wins, and the Eagles, again, a team that seems like they're in dysfunction but are now 4-2. Never know. Texans look to bounce back against the Colts. Lions got a very winnable game with the Titans. Falcons, Bucks in a game that I'm sure is going to matter a lot for the NFC South. Where's that? Where are the standings of the – whoopsies, don't want the Chiefs. I would like the standings of the NFC South, please. NFC South, Falcons, Bucks, 4-2, 4-3. That's going to be an important game for those teams. So that'll be a big game. That's also at noon. Saints, Chargers, Bills, Seahawks. Bills going out west. That's interesting. The Bears go to the Commanders. Another interesting game there. What can the Bears do? Will Jaden Daniels be healthy? How do those guys look? A lot of 3 o'clock games next week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Red Zone won't be dead at the 3 o'clock hour next week. Broncos, Panthers. Another spot for the Broncos to pick up another win and, possibly get to 5-3. 5-3. That would be a heck of a start for the Denver Broncos. Giants, Steelers Monday night. Can Danger Russ keep it going? And the Cowboys go to the 49ers. A game that was set for Sunday night that I'm probably thinking the TV execs thought they were going to have 2 teams in kind of a different spot. Not the 3-3 Cowboys and the 3-4 San Francisco 49ers. But here we are in a game that feels like must win for both of them. So NFL, staying fun. Again, I'm worried about my pack. They got to show up against the Jags. Don't fall into the trap. Show up. Going down to Florida, maybe a little warm for those fellas from up north in Green Bay. But go down there, get the job done. Take care of the fucking football. Please take care of the football. Cut out the stupid mistakes. Show a little discipline as a team every once in a while, and get a win. Get some good momentum going into that game with the Lions, who have to come to Lambeau for the first one. So we're looking for some good mojo. We want to keep it going. Keep it going. Keep the good vibes. Keep the good vibes. All right, let's move on. The MLB playoffs have come to an end for the Cleveland Guardians. My Cleveland Guardians. It was a wild ride this season. It was a ride I don't think many Cleveland Guardian fans expected to be on. Doesn't mean it doesn't suck. Doesn't mean there weren't opportunities. And it doesn't mean we have to feel all happy. There were some question marks about this team coming into the playoffs. The bullpen was phenomenal throughout the year. The fact that the bullpen was getting a lot of use in the third inning every game. Ethan talked about it a couple weeks ago when talking about the Tigers. And that they were pretty much going bullpen all game minus the games when they had Tarek Skubal. That was basically what Cleveland turned into. Their starters, they weren't getting them past the third or fourth inning. They got Bybee to the fifth a couple times, but the bullpen was coming in. They got to Cade Smith. They got to Clase twice. Clase got shelled a couple times. The bullpen gave up 6 home runs in the ALCS. New York has a pretty stacked fucking team. And Stanton and Judge and Juan Soto accounted for, I think, 5 of those home runs that they hit off the bullpen. I mean, Stanton had 4 home runs through the 5 games. Just an unreal performance from him. Cleveland just kept throwing in balls to out of the park, and he just kept fucking doing it. It felt like every time Cleveland did something well, they gave up a home run to have it come back. That said, there was an all-time fan game. Game 3 was one of the most ridiculous experiences watching a baseball game I've ever had. Maybe up there with Game 7 of the 2016 World Series. A game that they had to have. They couldn't fall down 3-0. It ends up not mattering, but I'm going to take the positives out of this, all right? In a game they had to have, Clase comes in with the lead, or with the tie game, gives up 2 runs. I think he gave up something like 5 runs all year. He gave up like 6 runs in this series. That might count the DS too. And a game, he also got shelled in the DS in a game. And Cleveland's down to their last batter. They send in Big Christmas, Jhonkensy Noel. He's down to his last strike. And he hits an absolute piss missile. An absolute piss missile over the big wall in left field to extend the game. Cleveland gets through the top of the 10th. They get a guy on. Bo Naylor, little 2-out double, gets himself on the plate. Bo Naylor played very well in the later half of the series. Kind of showed some spark. Hopefully that builds to something. And David Fry took one deep to left field as well. That was an all-time game. It felt like some momentum got swung back Cleveland's way. And then the problem was Game 4. Obviously Game 4 was a problem we lost. Again, tie game, and Clase comes in, and, they give up the 2 runs in the 9th. I believe that was a home run, too, if I'm not mistaken. I might have made a note on it. I don't know. I just said Clase getting shelled again. Absolutely shelled. In Game 5, a guy who's an incredible glove in the field, Brian Rocchio, who had a relatively good series from the plate, struggled a little bit from the field in this playoffs. He gave up an error in the 10th that eventually was the reason Juan Soto got up to bat. I think there was also a bullshit ball strike call in there. But just little things. Jose Ramirez didn't have a great series. Josh Naylor didn't do a ton. David Fry was hurt, so he was pinch hitting all over the place. Kyle Manzardo had a couple of moments. I mean, there were some moments. There were moments, but it just didn't all come together. The big thing is this team needs starting pitching. The lack of Shane Bieber was an evident hole. Gavin Williams he last year felt like he was going to take a step. He gets some injury problems. Tristan McKenzie doesn't come back off injury. He's not even on the roster. Oof. Tanner Bybee, but he's young, first year in the majors. I mean, Shane Bieber for this team would have done a lot in this series. If you can just get one, they probably, depending on how it falls, I mean, Bybee pitches twice. don't know if Bobby would have pitched twice had he not gotten pulled in the second inning. I mean, you're pulling Bobby, your best pitcher, in the second inning. I do wonder if they maybe should have let Bobby ride out a little longer, and I think that was game 2. But it did feel like, hey, you can't fall behind, and we've got this pen. And so, you ride her till she bucks you, or you don't ride at all, right? You dance with who brung you. You come with what you know. You come with what you know. And what you know is your bullpen. So, ride or die in the bullpen, I get it. They may have been a little overexposed. Tough to say. It's not like the starting pitching was awesome. I mean, Alex Cobb was one of the starting pitchers. He gets hurt and doesn't even get to play. Boyd had a decent, little stretch. But starting pitching is something that needs to be addressed. You got to find out what you got with Tristan McKenzie. You got to find out what you got with Gavin Williams. Bieber's a free agent, so they're going to have to come up with some starting pitching. It seems like bullpens don't last forever. I am totally blanking. Andrew Miller. Andrew Miller was a stud the 1 year in the playoffs, and then until he got shelled in the World Series, right? And then he was never quite the same guy. I mean, he was still a good reliever, but not just mowing people down like he was in 2016. So, it feels like everything going to your bullpen and relying on your bullpen isn't sustainable long term. Got to find some starting pitching. Might need another bat in there somewhere. It feels like if you got around Fry and Jose, Naylor, you got a little something out of John Kenzie Noel every once in a while. You got Quan up at the top, but I mean, it feels like 1 to 4, 1 to 5, Lane Thomas. It feels like the back half of that order. Jimenez, who made an incredible play, absolutely incredible play in the win in Game 3 to basically keep the ball rolling. Great glove, Roke's great glove normally. It feels like they need one more bat from the outfield. That right field position sitting out there like they need a bat in it. Lane Thomas was pretty solid. Good addition. They got him for one more year, I believe, but it feels like they need a bat and they need some starting pitching. Who knows what this team's going to spend? Probably not much. But the World Series starts Friday. We will be cheering for the Dodgers. I cannot stand the Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton may be one of the... I respect the hell out of what he just did. Now he just dominated my team. I cannot stand him. I don't know what it is about him. I don't know if it's the stupid way he just stands in the batter's box. I don't know if it's the way he looks. He looks like a dude who walks around without a shirt on a lot. I cannot stand him. He has a very punchable face. He's got the stupid little soul patch. And the only person I think who looks like a more irritable person is Verdugo. I hate the Yankees. The Yankees stink. I hate them. And they're so good. Why? Because they spend $400 million. That's why. Go Dodgers. And fuck, the Dodgers aren't any better. They're on the other side of the country. And they play at midnight. And everybody out there talks about them. But go Dodgers. Fuck the Yankees. All right. Shohei. He likes to gamble. We like him. College football time. All right, college football. Miami. That was a game. I had that game on a little bit on Saturday. They scored some points in that thing. Up until the fourth quarter, Miami was scoring 2 touchdowns kind of the middle of the fourth quarter to break it open to a 2-score game before Louisville was coming back and scoring a touchdown late that was pretty irrelevant. I think there was under a minute left. But Miami in some fun games lately. Oklahoma stinks, huh? Just got blown out by South Carolina. There it is, 35-9. Oofta. Oklahoma not enjoying the SEC. Texas didn't enjoy it that much this weekend either. We'll get there. Alabama did not enjoy Rocky Top. Tennessee with a big win over Alabama. Tennessee 6-1 now. Alabama 5-2. Can Alabama win out? I don't know. I see where their SEC standings are. But I mean, a 10-2 SEC team, even if they don't make, they got rid of division. So, unlikely Alabama makes the SEC championship. There's going to be a call for a lot of SEC teams to get into the playoff. Right now, you have 6-1 Texas A&M, 6-1 LSU, 6-1 Georgia, 6-1 Tennessee, 6-1 Missouri, 6-1 Texas. Vanderbilt is also 2-1 in the SEC, so they're technically above Alabama in the SEC standings. I would imagine that changes, but at this time, that's what it is. But yeah, Alabama goes down to Tennessee. 2 losses already. Texas, in the events of the weekend, Georgia goes to Texas, and they give it to them. They get up 23-0. Before Texas, I think this was in the third quarter. I made a note on when it is. Yeah, third quarter. It's 23-7, I think, at this point. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, I think it was 23-7 when there was an interception by Texas. They take it down to, I don't know, the 10-yard line or something like that. All of a sudden, there's a flag. Defensive pass interference. Horrendous call. 2 guys just kind of matched up top, do a little hand fighting, and it's just not there. Just not enough to take the interception away. And the Texas fans have a little mini riot. They start littering the field with water bottles and cans and everything else that they could put their hands on. 5, maybe 10 minutes. This goes on. They have to stop the game. Steve Sarkisian's down there telling them to knock it off. They're sending people out on the field to clean it up. And then the referees confer. And they take the interception. They give the interception back. They take away the penalty. And I thought Kirby Smart was going to lose his mind. He gave an incredible post-game thing. He's like, they tried to cheat us. Tried to take it from us. I get it. If I was Kirby Smart, I would be losing my ever-loving mind. Did those refs legitimately just look around the stadium and be like, give it back. Give them the fucking ball. We ain't fucking doing this. We're down here in God bless Texas. And these motherfuckers are liable to fucking find us after the game and do God knows what to us. Give them the fucking interception back. We ain't doing this. We ain't going through with this. We ain't dealing with the repercussions of pissing off 100,000 Texas fans. Hook them. Their ball. I don't know. Maybe they did. That's how I envision it in my head. That they got together and they said, did you fuckers just see what went on? Give them the fucking ball back. Give them the ball. We rescind the penalty. We rescind it. Oh, gosh. So, Georgia, big win. So, Georgia, I didn't even see what the standings were. Where everything shook out. I think Oregon's back to number 1. They whooped some ass Friday night. Let me see. Standings. Not standings. Rankings. These are rankings. AP top 25. Oregon back to 1. Georgia up to 2. Penn State at 3. Ohio State at 4. They were idle this week, I believe. I think after, because they had lost last week. Yeah, last week was when they played Oregon and lost. I don't know. Where'd it go? Who knows? It's gone forever. I scrolled back and it doesn't show me. Okay, yep, who knows? Whatever. Who cares? Why is that game just gone? I deal with what I can. Yeah, they were idle. So, yep, they're at 4. Texas at 5. Miami at 6. Tennessee at 7. LSU at 8. Clemson at 9. Some questions about Clemson being so high. Iowa State at 10. BYU, Notre Dame 12. Indiana, 7-0 Indiana, who are putting up some points. They absolutely boat race Nebraska 56-7. Let me just tell you the points they've scored in games this year. Here we go. They scored 31 against FIU, 77 against Western Illinois, 42 against UCLA, 52 against Charlotte, 42 against Maryland, 41 against Northwestern, 56 against Nebraska. There are going to be some questions about the quality of team they played. I mean, what's the best team they've played there? Nebraska? Yeah, probably. The rest of them are pretty weak. They have Washington this week, who's not a very good team. Michigan State, who I think is then Michigan, who's pretty solid, I think. It's not a great Michigan team, but they're not awful. They're better than most. They're better than any other team they've played. That'll be their toughest game to that point, and then they go to Ohio State. So those back-to-back weeks with Michigan and Ohio State are gonna tell us quite a bit about what we want to know there. What else? What else happened? Illinois beat Michigan this week, so I think Michigan has fallen out of the top 25. Vanderbilt is ranked. Vanderbilt, Army, and Navy all ranked for the first time since like 1919, I believe I saw. USC loses again. Again after having a lead at halftime. They were up 21-7 at halftime. Get outscored in the second half and lose to the Maryland Terrapins. Fear the turtle. Fear it. Fear the turtle. What do we got next week? What do we got coming up? Penn State goes to Wisconsin. Night game at Camp Randall. I'm disappointed I won't be able to be there. Obviously can't walk. Maybe I should see if I can just roll in on a wheelchair and watch in person. Army Navy. Top 25 not Army Navy. Notre Dame Navy. Top 25 Notre Dame Navy game. That should be a good one. They're just showing me every game. What is going on here? What is happening? College football. I would like to see the top 25 games, please, for this upcoming week. We've lost contain. Nebraska at Ohio State. Illinois heads out to Oregon. We're going to see what Illinois is all about. Missouri, Alabama in the afternoon. Texas at Vanderbilt. Can Vandy, newly ranked Vandy, can they play spoiler to Texas? Give them back-to-back losses. Florida State, Miami. Florida State stinks, but it's still Florida State, Miami. Weird stuff can happen. Kansas State, Kansas. Not a ton of great games. So Penn State, Wisconsin is a 6:30 game. And then Texas A&M and LSU. So a couple good ones. Penn State's got to get through that Wisconsin game. I know it's 6:30, which hopefully gets the trap feeling off it, but feels like a little bit of a trap game with Ohio State coming up next week. It looks like they did finally announce that time. Fucking big noon game, of course. That stinks. Penn State, Ohio State at Penn State should be played at night, and Fox ruins it for us. God. The new fucking Big Ten football TV deal stinks. There it is. Penn State robbed of primetime slot for Iowa State. Whiteout fears realized. Yep, everybody knew that was coming. Dumb. It stinks. Takes away one of the best atmospheres in college football. All right, that's all I got. Let's keep on rolling. Time for some passing thoughts. Let's start with this. Ryder Cup tickets were released. Ticket prices were released. They did release what they called their premium ticket or plus ticket, whatever. $750 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tough look for the PGA of America. $750 for a day of golf when there are only 4 groups on the course at a time. You do have all day, Friday, Saturday, obviously. Sundays, more golfers, kind of more of a truncated win. It equals out. $750 is tough. And for an event that doesn't pay the players. I've come around. I think if you would have asked me this 10 years ago, I would have said, oh, no, it's the Ryder Cup, man. It's bigger than money. You play for your country, your continent, your country for Europeans. You know, they're individual countries, but then the continent as a whole. But, you know, in the long run, you know, it's patriotism. It's beyond the dollar, the euro even. But the more and more I've grown, the more and more I've seen what they do with the Ryder Cup. And hey, I'm not against the PGA of America making money off the Ryder Cup. Like, that's their one of their two events they have that can make them big money. They have that and they have the PGA Championship. But less and less am I inclined to say people saying they should be paid for it should be treated as pariahs. There was a thing last Ryder Cup about Pat Cantlay allegedly not wearing a hat because of wanting to get paid. He denied those rumors, but certain journalists kept them up. It's hard to know. I mean, he probably wants to be paid, knowing him. But I have no problem with that, especially for an event that's going to make multiple millions of dollars, and they're going to charge people $750. The players playing in it can't get a little cash out of it. I know that's going to open it up to a whole lot of other shit. There's going to be negotiations. It's probably it could ruin it. But I understand from the player's perspective. It's like these people are there to see them. Now there's the argument like, oh, it doesn't matter. Just sub in the next person. They'll go see that. They go watch the President's Cup. Okay. Do they watch the Walker Cup? That's just subbing in people. Nobody has any clue who they are. The President's Cup is still PGA Tour golfers, like still high-level players. Am I that interested in the Ryder Cup if it's Taylor Gooch? Like, if the top 12 Americans stay away, like, let's just look at the Ryder Cup standings. I'm just going to read the Ryder Cup standings, and I'm going to go down to, like, the 15th guy. And we're going to start from there. This will be a little skewed because the teams, it's only based off, like, thing. So I'll go down to 15. We'll just list 12 names from 15 on. 15th, Taylor Moore, Cam Young, Chris Kirk, Adam Schenk, Sam Burns, and see, here's where it gets a little weird because these two guys are so far down because it's only taken in the four majors. Sam Burns, Justin Thomas, Taylor Montgomery, Joel Damon, Will Zalatoris, Kirk Kitayama, Davis Thompson, Keegan Bradley, Nate Lashley. Again, there are some names kind of juxtaposed in there, but just, remove them, and I'm just going to go for another 4. Doug Gim, Lee Hodges, Pat Reed, Sam Ryder. Like, the dudes playing matter. Like, I am not excited if that's who the U.S. team rolls out. And if the Euros roll out, can I switch to the Euros? We'll go to 15 in the Euros. And the Euros roll out Nicholas Colsaerts, Dan Brown, Grant Forrester, Jeff Winther, Yannick Paul, Sam Bairstow, Matthew Baldwin, Andrew Johnston, Alex Fitzpatrick, Rasmud Nygaard Peterson, Francesco Laporta, Jean Juan Coe, Bob McIntyre. Like, if those are the teams, I'm not that interested. So I am really coming around to if these guys want to get paid, I get it. And I kind of stole that from Shane Ryan, who said, I'm just going to say it, come what may. If I were a player, I would flat out refuse to play in the Ryder Cup without fair compensation, and I would be fully willing to tolerate the propaganda thrown against me. He said, this has always been my position, but these ticket prices have brought that out to me. Fair enough. Elsewhere, Russell the Muscle Wilson went to his post-game press conference in full pads and with the play sheet still on his arm. Like, this is what this jackass looked like in the post-conference. Take the fucking pads off. Jesus Christ. Elsewhere, I got on a weird accidental Mest kick, the band Mest, going through Spotify the other day. Forget even what it started with, but I listened to like 10 Mest songs. It was weird. I saw a thing about Miller Lite Vortex bottles and the tragedy is that those are gone. Miller Lite also had punch top cans where you'd pop the top in them. And the flow on both the punch top cans and the Vortex bottle was elite. Elite flow. No gulping, just smooth. And we've went away from that. We've regressed as a society because of our refusal to accept the Vortex can and the punch top can. Vortex bottle and the punch top can. I finished Hunt for Red October, the book. Finished that, I don't know, last week. I think it might have just missed the cut of... Or maybe I just forgot to talk about it last week. Very good book. Excellent book. I had to rewatch the movie as well. Phenomenal movie. Roommate asked me which one I like better. I can't tell. I cannot decide. Both phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. Obviously, the book goes into much greater detail than you can ever do in a movie. But the movie's just fantastic. The way they kind of interweave a couple things and make a couple changes, and just great. Both are phenomenal things. If you've never seen them, I highly recommend both. One of my favorite movies ever. Definitely in the top 10-ish of my favorite books ever, too, as well. Speaking of the roommate is the grill master now, obviously. Noticed this earlier. Uh-oh. Sorry, I lost my mic there for a second. Noticed this earlier. My crutches are in the background here, but obviously I'm laid up. Got a new grill in my time of recovery here. The roommate is the new grill master, and she loves it. She was so pissed that I told her she'd have to do the grilling. She's like, I don't want to do the grilling. You do the grilling. Ah. And now she fucking loves it. Absolutely loves it. She's going to be fighting me to work my grill when I get back. She's going to be the grill master. I can just tell. She loves it. I tried the new chicken Big Mac. The chicken Big Mac. It was good. Big Mac, everything the same. Big Mac sauce, onions, pickles. I don't do the pickles myself. I told you, I think I mentioned it last week, that it looked like the McChicken, patties in there. I was wrong. They're like giant chicken nuggets. It's like a giant chicken nugget. It's not like the McChicken. It's not like their fancy, chicken sandwiches either. It's like giant chicken nuggets as the thing. Still messy as hell. Still pretty good. I think I like the regular Big Mac better still. Hard to beat the original. Hard to beat something you've really got ingrained into your thoughts and your taste buds. But it's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Pretty damn cool. Steve Ball. Yeah. Trump worked McDonald's this weekend. Pretty funny. Dude is ridiculous. Just telling everybody that came up, well, that's a good-looking family you got there. What a fucking absolute lunacy of a world we live in. Trump's just in there slinging it around at McDonald's, making fries. The dude's telling him, 2 hands, Mr. President. You got to put the crate down with 2 hands. Unbelievable. We're what a shit. 2 weeks away from the election? I have no clue what's going to happen. It's going to be wild. Things all look to be trending Trump's way, in at least the Electoral College. Who knows what could come in the next couple weeks? I'm sure there will be reasonable and calm responses no matter who wins. Nobody will get out of hand at all. I'm sure that won't happen. Just a terrible candidate on the other side. Just an awful person. Awful. Okay. I think we are good. Let's go wrap this puppy up. Closing time, everybody. I just want to say thank you to everyone. Another fun week. I appreciate the support. I fucking forgot to talk about hockey again. I watched some of the game. They played Saturday, so the baseball game was on. I flipped it on a couple times. Baseball's over, so we've got a whole lot of extra time throughout the week. Hockey will be watched. There will be a segment on hockey next week, I promise. So we got hockey coming. We got more NFL. We'll keep an eye on the World Series, college football. Good stuff coming. Good stuff coming out ahead. So, again, I thank you all. I appreciate everybody. As always, comment, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the good stuff. And until next week, peace!